There is a reason why your child can say s but can't say sausages or Spider-Man, which, you know, for many children is quite an important word, so we really need to help them get that one right. Does your child make some errors in their speech sounds? Do you find that they're saying bish instead of fish, or bider instead of spider? And perhaps this feels like a mystery to you because they can say the sound f but can't say fish, and they can say the sound s but can't say spider. So what's the breakdown? What's going on there? Well, keep watching, because in this video I want to give you a sneak peek into some of the stages that are involved in speech therapy and in helping your child to master some of those sounds and start using them not only on their own but within everyday conversation. Lots of young children make errors in their speech as they are developing and mastering the quite complicated process of speaking clearly. If you pause for a minute and think about all that is going on in your mouth and in your brain and also in your lungs when you are articulating all of those words, then no wonder it takes children a while to master this process. And I often find that I'm having conversations with parents who are stuck on the fact that they can help their child to make that difficult sound, but they can't yet help them to transfer it to words and sentences. And actually, this is often a big part of speech therapy, is helping children to move through those steps from saying a sound on its own to using it in everyday conversation. And it can be quite a leap. There's often several steps involved in that process, and speech therapy helps children with this skill. Now, some children get there on their own and beautifully master, seemingly effortlessly, the quite complicated skill of speaking clearly and learning all of the many sounds involved in our language. But some children, many children in fact, need help to get there with the help of parents and teachers and speech therapists. Of course, there's lots of complexities involved in helping children to master their speech sounds, and the approach that a speech therapist will take varies depending on the kind of difficulties that your child is presenting with. But all of that aside, there's often some commonalities in it. So I'm going to walk you through each of those stages to give you a better idea of where your child's at and help you feel sure about how you can support them. At this point, I should say, listen to your speech and language therapist, don't listen to me. This is how I approach some of the work that I do with some children. All of the provisos, you get the idea. So I'm going to take the example that a mum asked me recently, where she said her child can say s but can't say sausages. So what's going on there? Why is that, and how can we help them to get from A to Z? Ps. So here at the bottom of our pyramid we have s on its own, that single sound, and some children need a lot of help even at this initial stage to really master a new sound. So within speech therapy sessions, often in the early days when we're experimenting to find out what sounds a child needs help with and what sounds they can just about have a go at making, we're thinking about the single sounds. There's lots of different ways that speech therapists use to elicit these new sounds and to help a child to figure out what to do with their mouth to make a new sound. And I'm not going to go into all of those details within this video, but if you have any particular sound questions or queries, let me know in the comments below. For now, we're just going to assume that this child can say s on their own, but they can't say it in words yet, so what do we do in between? When we're helping a child use a new sound within words, then we have to often break down each step. So if we have at the bottom their s sound, the next stage will be helping them to use that sound at the beginning of really simple words. So if they can say s, we might start practicing things like so, see, saw, and you may well have noticed that all of these simply involve the new sound s plus a vowel. At this stage, it doesn't even matter whether they're real words or pretend words like saw. In fact, practicing these kind of non-words can be a really important and valuable step for some children, because in their heads, their pattern of how to say a word like sausages or snake or Sophie is so strong that a struggle to kind of shift that pattern. So introducing brand new non-words can be a really helpful way for them to start using that new sound, that's in simple words. Even at this second stage, some children need a lot of help with this as well. But assuming that we can, with a child, start saying things like sue, saw, then we might work on very simple words. And if you think about the s sound, That crops up at the beginning of words, in the middle of words, and at the end of words. So each of those might pose a novel challenge for your child. And so we might need to work on each of those different positions of that sound within a word, on top of all of the things that we're thinking about within our pyramid. Oh my goodness, no wonder children need a bit of help with this. So once we've got a small little bank of words with that target sound that a child can say, then we can start practicing them within really short phrases. And there's a variety of games and things that we can play within that. In fact, I made a short video inside the SALT support group on this topic. So if you're not already a member of the SALT support Facebook group, I'll pop the link below and it would be great to see you there. Once a child can start using their new sound within words, within short phrases, then we start practicing remembering to use that sound within longer phrases and even a conversation level. And this can be a real challenge for children. They might appear to be really successful within a speech therapy session where they're focusing on their new sound and practicing it within words, but then you might step out the door and see a spider crawling up the drain pipe, and your child might say, "Hey mum, it's a bider." And you think, no. It takes a lot of effort to overwrite those habitual patterns and ways that we all have of speaking, and this can be the case for many children. So this is why your input, your support, your observation of your child's speech development is such a key part of effective speech therapy, because you are with your child much more of the day than your speech therapist, who you might see once a week. And so you can talk with your therapist about how to help your child. We've been talking a lot about speech sound development over in the SALT support group, hearing from parents their examples of sounds that their children struggle with and figuring out ideas, sharing activities to support children with this. So if you'd like to listen in on the conversation, or even better, contribute to it and ask your questions and share the experiences that you've had, then do join us in the SALT support group. That would be great to have you. I'll pop the link in the comments below. And of course, you may know I'm here every week. My name's Bryony Rust. I'm a speech and language therapist, and I just love sharing ideas with you about how we can all work together to improve children's communication skills. So if you would like to be involved in that, then do hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next week. See you then.